What did your colleagues think about your decision to go into locums, as opposed to taking a traditional W-2 job out of an academic sort of resident setting, you know?
My co-residents at the very least were, I think, kind of a little shocked, I say, just because at my residency, particularly, no one goes into locums.
So academics, no one does locums.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of like probably diametrically opposed, I would say,
Very
in
much
one
so, yeah.
in a sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they get paid like significantly,
Horribly,
almost
yeah.
50 to 70% lower than a locum doctor would.
Oh, yeah.
But they have other benefits apparently. But anyway, so my point is that they are even further removed, I think, than a regular W-2 employee
Right.
from locums. Then, so that's, I think, why a lot of us, and myself included, we have little to no exposure to locums when we
Yeah.
get out or
Yeah.
doing training. And doing residency, you're kind of just focusing on, obviously, solidifying your practice, right? Making sure that you're solid when you get out. But then after that, the only thing that you have to think about is, okay, do I want to work with which CMG do I want to work with?
Right.
Or do I want to go into an academic setting again,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of like the conversation. Locums doesn't enter
Yeah.
the conversation ever.
Yeah, no, and in medicine in general, it was always kind of like very limited paths that you
Yeah.
could take, and so they're like, well, you have this or this, and so that's kind of the way you go about it.
It's like a new specialty within medicine,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly,
It's kind of
yeah.
like, it's like a new specialty that we just found, because like people don't really know much about it.
Right.
Kind of like, I guess, what, PM&R or something, like there's some like
Right,
these
right.
sort of really
The
mysterious
hidden
specialties
curriculum.
that are like actually really cool, but not many people know about, right? And so
No.
locum tenens is kind of like, I think in a sense it's analogous to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so how was your experience like after your residents or your co-residents at the time decided you were kind of taking a little bit of a risk? What did they think? It was like crazy, risky? Well, why did they think it was an issue?
Yeah. I think part of it, and I mean, I can't totally speak for them, but
Yeah.
I think part of it is a little bit of the fear, and there's a bit of the fear of the unknown, and then there's also the
That's
fear.
a big one.
That's a huge one. Even the attendings I spoke to had never done locum, so they couldn't offer
They couldn't recommend it,
anything.
yeah.
Right. And then the other part is it can sound kind of scary because you're constantly adapting to a new environment and like, you know,
Yeah.
you never know what you're walking into. And I mean, these jobs are difficult for a reason, one
Yeah.
way or another.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're filling that need,
Yeah.
but they do come with their challenges.
What were your biggest fears before you started locums, about locums?
I think my fears were more or less kind of the same as any other resident,
Okay.
which is like, am I going to be
Yeah.
a good attending? I wasn't sure. I mean, I think it would have been harder had I not talked to you beforehand because I was able to get the advice of like, oh, you set up like your S Corp and you do this and you have to have your Dropbox or your Google.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think, well prepared going into it. If I had not had that advice going in, I may have even quit altogether.
So this would be like maybe like the idea of importance of having mentorship, right?
Yeah.
Like I think we have lots of mentorship. The whole medical school process up until and including residency is all mentorship, right?
Right.
We're always learning from someone. We have professors, we have attendings that are guiding us through the practice, and it's like an apprenticeship in
Yeah.
a sense. But when you go out into the real world after that, you don't have that mentorship anymore. You just have to
Right.
kind of wing it or just do what everybody else is doing,
Right.
right? And so I think one of the things that with the goal with this podcast and other stuff that we're doing is to really just help doctors just be educated about what's out there,
Yeah.
because not enough people are doing it. And as a matter of fact, we're at AEM and some medical school students came over, like,
that's great.
yeah, and they were just like, do you offer mentorship? I was like, not yet, but but the idea that the education, and they just want someone who can help them on the other side,
Right. Yeah.
not just the medical school and the residency side, which is
Right.
going to happen regardless, right?
Yeah.
Someone who can help guide them. Okay, what are the best decisions to make financially,
Yep.
right? About your lifestyle, about your work outside, or your work rather, but also your life outside of work as well, right?
Right.
So yeah, anyways, that's I think an important factor that a lot of people just dismiss locums because they don't have that person to talk to.
Right.
Because maybe if you didn't see us last year,
Yeah. Who knows?
maybe you would have gotten a W-2 job. Who knows, right?
Yeah. Who knows?
And maybe we wouldn't be sitting here. But cool. So then after you decided to take the leap, what happened?
So it was mostly kind of trial by fire at that point. I mean, I jumped to it. It was very.
You reached out to me early to look for a job, I remember.
I did, yeah. And part of it is just kind of searching for the job. I think, honestly, in my opinion at least, the hardest part of doing locums out of residency is just that you're not credentialed yet because
Yeah.
it takes a while. And that
You mean
kinda limits the
certified?
pool.
Board certified?
Right, exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I
limits
think
somewhat of your opportunities, correct?
a little bit, yeah.
Not,
I mean,
not
it's still
ton,
out
but
there.
some. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still out there for sure. You'll find
And
it.
you know what I find interesting about that? The sites that limit you to do locums because you're not certified will accept a new resident
Right.
who's not certified.
Full time, yeah.
It's like the only difference between you and that doctor is that you're a 1099 and they're
Right.
W-2, but literally there's no other difference. You could be from the same
Right.
program.
Yeah, it's very.
It's a very arbitrary kind of
Weird.
like, I mean, it's almost somewhat prejudiced.
Yeah, a little
It really
bit, yeah,
is. I mean,
it is.
you're right? Anyways, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I think, I mean, in my opinion, that was kind of the hardest hurdle coming out of
Mm-hmm.
residency, was the certification portion. But other than that, I mean, I think it was kind of the same things. I mean, a lot of these positions I was doing single coverage or overnight, like straight out the gate, which is partially also like my personal sort of choice. But one way or another, everyone tells you the first year of your attendinghood is, you know, where you're going to learn the most anyways.
You're going to learn the most. yeah.
So I think I just kind of like put that on steroids.
You just jumped into the deep end of the pool right out the gate.
Yeah.
Like you're not just, I get some residents and look, I was like the opposite in a sense. Like I'm like, hey, I want like, just to have that backup. I want to have attendings at night.
Right.
I want to make sure I'm never single covered. But you just went right in. That's awesome.